Well, okay, it looks like it's 5 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. My name is Anna Litman, and I'm a career advisor. I work at American University Career Center, and I advise undergraduate and graduate students of the College of Arts and Sciences and of the School of Education. So I will be with you for the next hour, and I'm facilitating this webinar on how to write effective resume and cover letter. This webinar is one of 7 or 8 webinars that were organized and brought to you by AU Career Center in the series that we called Job Searching in Times of Uncertainty. We will have one more webinar in this series coming to you next Tuesday. It will be April 13, and it will be from noon to 1. And that the webinar will be on interviewing, and it will be facilitated by my colleague, Marie Spalding. So I hope that you will have an opportunity to join Marie next Tuesday. And we will also restart this series of webinars in June. We haven't decided exactly the dates of that summer series, but we will soon make a decision, and you will be able to see them posted in Handshake. And as you probably already know, our webinar today is being recorded, so you can always have access to it, and it will be, because it will be posted on AU Career Center's channel on YouTube. So what I would like to promise you right now, that I will do my best that by the end of this workshop, you will know how to make your resume and cover letter stand out. And that's very important. It's important at any time, but right now, when the economy is not doing that great, it's recovering, but still, it's not easy to find a job. So effective application materials, they're definitely very, very important. And I'm really excited to have this opportunity to share with you, the kind of collective wisdom of career advisors, as well as my own experience and my own, tips and strategies that I've developed through my 12 years of working with AU students. And I reviewed hundreds and hundreds resumes and helped students get interviews thanks to good and successful, strong resumes and cover letters. So that's so I do have the confidence in the tips and advice that I will be bringing to you during our very packed webinar, because we have not only one topic to cover, but 2 topics, a resume and cover letters. So what I suggest that we will focus next 20 minutes, we will focus on resume. I will talk about types of resumes, structure, content, and best practices. Then I will stop and I will take your questions. Please write them in chat or Q&A. And then I will switch to the topic of cover letters, probably for 15 minutes. And then again, I will open, kind of start, I will encourage you to send me your questions, because I will be more than happy to try to tackle them. Okay. Before we kind of dive into this topic of resume, I want to share with you what I quite often hear from students. When I give them advice, they may tell me something like, I've shown my resume to my friend or to another advisor, and you're actually giving me a different advice. And why is that? Or they will tell me that, there are hundreds of various resume templates on internet. So how to choose the best one? So what I, usually tell students, there are actually very few rules how to write a resume. So the rest is kind of an art of how to write a good resume. And art is an opinion. So it's actually, it does not surprise me that you hear different advice and hear different opinions, because that's what the resume writing business is about. What's important is that you do need to like your resume. You do need to kind of own your resume and take pride in it. So when you hear advice from me or from other advisors or from other people in your network, it's important to kind of to think why they give you this advice or ask questions, and then can make a decision what you will kind of incorporate, maybe something you won't incorporate in your resume, and that's okay too. Okay, now let's kind of remind ourselves what is a resume? What's the purpose of a resume? So resume is your marketing document, and it's a marketing document to get a job or an internship interview. It won't get you a job right away. The resume won't be able to get you a job right away, but it will get you an interview, and then the interview will get you a job. So again, it's a marketing document, and as a marketing document, it should be a showcase of your accomplishments, of your skills, and your potential to be successful in this specific job or internship that you applying to. So let's think about who will read your resume and when will they read your resume and why they would be reviewing your resume. So first, your resume, when you can hit that apply button, your resume will be sent to recruiters, which could be humans, or it could be first ATS. It's ATS stands for applicant tracking systems. So many employers nowadays use applicant tracking systems to help with their recruitment and hiring needs. It's kind of as AI, but they don't be afraid of that, because they're not making decisions whom to hire. They're helping ATS help recruiters to process resumes when they receive a lot of resumes. So they usually used at the first stage when the resume to screen resumes and to eliminate candidates without required or relevant qualifications, or with resumes that maybe do not have, do not have contact information. You will be surprised, but there are a lot of resumes that that applicants send out kind of in a hurry, and they do not include their contact information. So then the next step, when those resumes that were not eliminated, they will be going through a second review, and that is conducted definitely by a human, by a recruiter or a hiring manager. And the goal of reviewing resumes at that point is to select applicants with relevant qualifications, or with a kind of the potential for being hired for this particular job. And then, when interviews are being, are set up, recruiters and hiring managers will again refer to resumes. They won't be making decisions based on resumes, because that's now we come to the different stage when resume is important, but not that important because it has already been selected. So you have been selected thanks to good resume and your experience and qualifications. You were selected to be interviewed. But what's important at that stage is that you know your resume very well, because recruiters and hiring managers will be asking questions. Well, can ask you something, walk me through your resume, or tell me about this experience, or tell me about that experience. So you do need to know your resume very well and be able to provide relevant examples and kind of elaborate on your resume. So there are several types of resume, and I quickly, go through them. First, we'll be chronological. We call it chronological, but it's actually the resume that presents your experience as well as your education in the reverse chronology, from kind of newest to the most recent, and then to oldest. Then functional resume, which is usually created around certain functions or certain skills. And this is kind of a resume that recruiters do not particularly like, but applicants find it useful when they have gaps in their experience. And I'm talking not about gaps like a couple months or even up to a year, but more like several kind of year gaps in their experience. Then combination, the type when there is, it's a kind of reverse, when there is like a functional kind of around the skills, and then kind of the list or the employment history is presented without facts and without details, because the details were presented in that functional part of the resume. Then there's curriculum vitae, which is usually used for academic jobs, or maybe some not-for-profits. Usually curriculum vitae, they're longer documents, and they include more kind of information about conferences, about publications. So that's kind of that usually curriculum vitae, maybe prepared by people in kind of research field, maybe kind of not right after, I would say, college. And then there is a very special type of resume, which is federal type of resume. I would definitely recommend if you apply to government positions in the federal government, use USA Jobs and use Resume Builder. That's a specific resume tool to create a federal resume to make sure that you meet all the requirements of the federal resume. And then infographic resume, or kind of more creative types. So there are resumes that use graphics, some images. That could be a suitable resume for people in kind of creative professions. So the rest of my talk today will be kind of devoted to chronological resumes. So if you think that you have an interest in creating other types of resumes, I would definitely recommend to schedule an appointment with your career advisor. Okay, so chronological resume content. Again, I remind you that we call it chronological, but we will be presenting our experience in this type of resume in a reverse chronology. So first, 3 myths that I want to mention and kind of dispel them. So the first myth is it's sufficient to prepare a detailed general resume to apply to different jobs. I hear that quite often from students, especially when they many think that they need to apply to so many jobs, and that's why it's easy to create a general resume with good details and then write a more employer-specific cover letter. Well, actually, the fact is that employers, they search applicants' resume for specific keywords and specific language from the specific job description. So that's what employers do. Employers as humans, as well employers, if we call them employers, as ATS. So recruiters as well as ATS will be searching applicants' resumes for specific keywords and language. So therefore, your general resume may not have those specific keywords and specific language. So not usually, but I would say that kind of savvy job seekers, those who have good resume writing skills, they typically prepare multiple resumes and they tailor their resumes to specific jobs. Next myth. Your resume needs an objective statement, so that in the beginning of your resume, you write, what's your career objective? Actually, objective statements are rarely advised. I've heard it so many times from employers. Please tell students, don't include objective in the resume. It takes precious space from the page. They have a cover letter. We don't need to see that objective. So summary statements that actually can be useful for those, specifically for those applicants who may have many years of kind of professional career. Maybe they have different careers, maybe they're career changers. So that maybe it makes sense to create a concise summary statement of their work, of their qualifications. And the last myth that I want to dispel today is that the resume should only include work experience. And that's what, I sometimes hear it from young students, freshmen, sophomores, or even juniors, that, well, how can I create a resume? I don't have like a work experience. Well, good resume includes a variety of experiences. It could be work, could be leadership, or community service or academic projects. So all these experiences can help you showcase that you have skills and you have accomplishments that will make you a good employee in this particular job that you would like to apply to. So I just wanted to show you a template that you will find on Handshake. You will also find it on Career Center's website. So on this, so just let's stay with this template for a minute, because I just wanted to show you that, talk a little bit about the structure and the content of the resume. So it's very important that you include your name and your contact information. You kind of don't need to include maybe your full mail address, because I don't think that they will be sending you anything by mail, though we have it in this template. I would probably recommend to, if the job is not remote and if you are located in this kind of area, maybe it's good to include in the address the city and state where you are. Then I would suggest that you start with education if you are in college or in school and graduate program, or maybe a year after. If you've been out of school for some time, I will suggest that education will go kind of to the bottom of the page, unless it's more relevant to the position that you're applying than your professional or not professional kind of your work experience. So in that, in this template, it's a kind of, it's for, I think for, I think the template is the undergraduate template. Graduate template is actually will be very similar. It just, you start with the graduate program. So you will first include your graduate program, again, the university, your program, your degree, and then GPA also. If you have a high GPA, 3.5 or above, I would include it for master's degree as well. And then you will skip one, line, and that will go to the information about your undergraduate degrees. And then, here you see experience, and then you see campus and community service, because as I said, it's more a kind of a college undergraduate degree. And skills. Skills, you can move it to the top. You could be summary of skills. You can start with it. If you have good technical skills that are particularly important for the position that you're applying, or you can put them after education. So nothing here is kind of set in stone. So you need to figure out the structure that works best for you, best for your experience, and best for the needs of this of the position that you're applying to. Lost my. Okay, so how you can tailor resume content. So in addition to moving kind of this sections, you can add sections or you can rename them. So I'll give you examples here. Summary of qualifications, that could be the one that you can put on, maybe in the top of your resume. Then if you have publications, and that's important to include, then include them. Maybe you have research experience, and that's, again, it's important for this position. So call it research experience. You can call your experience as a relevant experience, and then have another section, other work experience. You have a section that you can call leadership experience. So what I would suggest, don't create too many sections, okay? So because it may be not easy then for a person to read it when there are too many sections. And don't create a section if you have only one experience to include it in it. And again, within each section, your experience should be presented in reverse chronological order. Now, let's talk some about best practices. Best practices, how to make your resume scannable by ATS, and how it can be made skimmable by human recruiter. Because what we know, that the research tells us that on average, recruiters spend about 6 seconds to make a decision, to skim through a resume and cover letter, and to make a decision whether to move this person to the next stage in the hiring process or to eliminate it. So let's, okay, let me first mention that I would recommend to use traditional formatting. So again, on internet, online, you will find a lot of different templates. They may not be scannable by ATS. And that's kind of some, advanced ATS that employers may be using. They may be able to parse through kind of creatively designed resume, but you don't know which ATS the employer uses. Therefore, I think that traditional formatting, the one that you will find on Career Center's website or on Handshake, I think they will work well. And we have different templates, we have different samples. You can mix and match. You can select, as I said, that they're not set in stone. When I said, traditional, I mean no photographs, no kind of sub-columns, no kind of images, pictures, kind of the one that I showed you in the previous slide. So it could be, your resume could be 1 page or 2. Employers still like, to have like 1 page. Again, it's easy to skim. The format should be consistent. So use kind of a common font, nothing kind of too fancy. Use bullet points. It's better to describe your experience through bullet points than through paragraphs. Again, it's easy to skim through your resume, and then recruiters will more likely kind of read quickly through your resume, or instead of just say, oh, it's too much text, I can't understand it, it's too much. Okay, let me move to the next candidate. Okay. So that's why it's good to have white space and avoid this kind of dense text. Okay, let me tell you more kind of about how to create really good bullet points. So you should provide details, but you shouldn't make it, the bullet point should not be like too long, so not longer than 2 lines, but 2 lines is fine. So a full line, a line and a half, or 2 lines should be sufficient for you to include relevant details. Start with an action verb. Start your bullet point with an action verb. So don't start it with like a responsible, or don't overuse the word assist. You can use it once, but don't overuse it because it doesn't explain what you actually did. So pay attention to verb tense. So if you talk about current job or current experience, use present tense. When you talk about the past experience, use past tense. The next point is very important. You should use keywords and language from the job description. So that therefore, and I'll mention it right now, we'll be mentioning it again. Therefore, I would recommend that you each time when you apply, before you apply, you tweak your resume. I know it takes time, but I don't think it makes sense to kind of blast out into the universe 500 resumes without actually making an effort to make them specific to the job description. So the next point is also important. Use numbers to quantify results, actions, or context of your experience. Numbers, they play a very important role because first they communicate the intensity or the scope of your experience. The second, they're psychological. They attract readers' attention. They break the monotony of the text, and they attract readers' attention. Again, remember about this making resume skimmable. So when a recruiter skims through a resume, they kind of the numbers, will catch their eyes, and they will start reading the bullet point, and that's what you want. So, and the last point here in this slide that I want to make is that it's important to demonstrate top essential, or we can call them transferable skills that are sought after by employers irrespective of the field. So what I mean by that, so top essential skills and what we know through employer surveys. So they include critical thinking, problem solving, oral and written communication, teamwork, collaboration, global intercultural fluency, professionalism, work ethic, leadership. So in your resume, you can actually demonstrate these top skills by using specific verbs, such as for critical thinking, problem solving. You can say, you can use the word analyze, solve problems. For oral written communication, you can say informed, communicated, developed, wrote, drafted, revised, proofread. For teamwork, you can say partnered, collaborated, work on a team of X number of people. Global intercultural fluency, maybe you will include here that you worked on an international team or diverse team. Maybe also you have language skills. Professionalism, work ethic. So if you worked with confidential information, maybe you will include this as well. And leadership, you can even, if you have leadership experience, you may even create a section, as I mentioned before, leadership experience, and include your leadership roles in that section. Or in the bullet point, you can also use the words, lead, led. Don't forget a very typical typo, how to write the word led in the past tense. It's L-E-D. Okay. Here's a sample for you. So I use the format, it's from our template. And you see it's very economical. So you put the position, organization, location, and date on the same line. And the bullet points here. Supported the executive board of 11 professionals on multiple projects to deliver successful 20th anniversary celebration attended by 350 plus members and guests. I won't, continue reading because you can read it yourself, but you can see the numbers here. They stand out in the text. There is a result, saved 10% of event budget. There is a specific skill here, technology skills that are important. Used Adobe Suite to create a 20-page booklet. So see, this is kind of this description is is very packed with good information, as well as it's really kind of connected to the job description of the that the person is applying to. It's actually, I would recommend my students to use the language and keywords of the job description of your future job to describe your past experiences. Okay. Okay, some more samples specifically on how to show the transferable skills. Course research project, collaborated with a 6-member team. Student organization, coordinated 15 community service. Cashier, some student jobs can also help to demonstrate, the work ethic, as well as the kind of efficiency, managed to registers and handling 5,000 in cash daily. Retail, so that's kind of, you can be really creative how you describe your various experiences. Another important point I wanted to make. It's good to optimize keywords use in your resume. So use them multiple times. So you can use them in bullet points. You can use them in skill summary, in relevant coursework. Even in your headline, you can create a headline. For example, as I have here, Stacy Smith, phone address, and then data scientist, or your kind of skills and field of your interest. John Jones, phone address, social media, and marketing. So here, this is how you can incorporate keywords in the summary of skills. So what's very important, in addition to what I've just said, it's very important that your resume is absolutely that your resume has no typos, no grammar mistakes. I would suggest that you read it out loud. It's easier to catch such, kind of typos, and also review your resume for consistent formatting. For example, when students show me their resume, the first I do is just I kind of quickly review for the consistent formatting, because that's really important for recruiters too. And then after that, I start analyzing each bullet point with respect to the specific job description that a student would like to apply to. So the last thing that I want to mention right now, that by that 75%, that's what we know, unfortunately, resumes are eliminated by ATS or by recruiters. And that these are the reasons. The ATS cannot parse this fancy formatting. There are no keywords, and therefore there's poor matching between the resume and a job description. And recruiters, they kind of okay with fancy formatting, but that may not let them go through it very quickly. So if it's an unfamiliar formatting or kind of poor formatting or tiny font, and again, they will be paying attention to keywords and if there are no keywords and there are typos, such resumes will be eliminated. Okay, so more tips. So I would suggest creating everything resume, like one that could be in several pages. It's good to have this to keep this information about different parts of your experience, but and kind of with details, with all this, using all these best practices that I've just mentioned. But don't apply with this everything resume. Just use it to create employer-specific and job-specific resumes, kind of cutting and pasting and creating a more specific document. So follow application directions regarding a certain file type, because when that's, again, if you don't follow these, if there are directions and you're not followed, then again, your resume may be eliminated. I would suggest not placing any text in the header and footer when using kind of document format, but I kind of would suggest that you avoid it because some ATS cannot read header and footer. I would suggest that using words virtual, remote, Zoom, and Teams, and that's kind of, these words become more and more important because many jobs continue to be virtual and remote, and you want to show that you have experience with virtual and remote settings. So, okay, I'll stop now and would like, if we have some questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Let me look. Okay, roughly how many years after graduation should one move education lower down resume? Well, I would suggest maybe, like one in a year or 2 years, but again, think what's more important, more relevant to the job that you are applying to. If your education is more important than your work experience, then I will suggest keeping it, because that's the most important thing, that you, that you make your resume relevant. Also, for a transfer student, should one average out their GPA using the prior school final GPA and GPA from AU? Well, it's an interesting question. I think so. Yeah, I kind of, I need to maybe follow up with you, but I think academic advisors even, will be better persons to answer this question. So you just want to make sure that it's kind of appropriate for kind of, within kind of, I would say, academic rules. Okay, there is a couple of questions Q&A here. How do you suggest we enter relevant coursework? Would you suggest that we include a description of the course? That's an excellent question. So I would suggest that you definitely include not so much as a description of the course, but what you did for the course. Because if you just include the title of the course, it can work if you want to maximize the keywords, and if you think that you have other very relevant experience. So just kind of think, okay, I'm maximizing the number of the keywords I used on my resume. That, okay, maybe just simple titles will work. But I would encourage you to, if you include a coursework, to describe what you did, because in the coursework you probably had an opportunity to develop your writing skills, analytical skills. So you can use the word researched something in X number page paper. You presented or co-presented to an audience of X number of people. So you have an opportunity to communicate not only the kind of the knowledge of the particular subject, but also skills. And you will find this in the samples. You will find on Handshake and on the website the samples that will show you how to format relevant coursework. How specific do the keywords need to be? For example, if the job description uses analyze, would ATS pick up if we use analyzing on our resume? That's an excellent question. It's not clear. It kind of depends upon ATS. Some ATSs, more or less advanced. So kind of older generation, they may be kind of more, so it's better to use direct kind of word. So we kind of can maybe safely assume that many ATS are like over maybe not that advanced to decipher images, but still kind of at the level that they can see different kind of, this, not synonyms, but different forms of the same word. Okay, so let me go to, let me stop with questions right now. Let me go to the cover letters. Okay, so you have not only one marketing tool to showcase your relevance and your potential to the employer, but you have two. And the second one is a cover letter. So that's why, I suggest that you really will be excited about writing cover letters, because that's your second tool. So it is a targeted document. So it targeted to not only job kind of that you're applying to, but a specific employer. So it should highlight relevant skills and experience. It should show that you're confident that you are the best candidate for the position. So it's not an essay. So it's relatively short document. It should be 3 to 5 paragraphs long, kind of business letter format, and you can find the outline and the format on our website, on the Career Center website. So what employees want to find out? Actually, they have 3 questions. And that's, again, it's irrespective of the employer, irrespective of the field. They want to know, why do you want to work here? Not in the field, but with this specific employer. And they want to know, why should they hire you? If you don't know, if you're unsure, why they should be sure. And they want to know how you can, whether you can write well. So to answer the first question, you need to research organization's website. You need to find kind of, I call it golden nuggets, something that, that makes you excited about the employer. And that's what you want to include it. And I'm interested in you because you do XYZ, or I want to contribute to this project, to the projects that you recently started, something very specific, because if you include specific information and put it in the context of that you are eager to help, that you are very interested, you are impressed with what they do, then they will kind of see that you are enthusiastic, not only about the job, but about the employer. So why should we hire you? You will need to give them specific, relevant examples that will convince them that you have skills and potential. As for the write well, I don't recommend that you will write, I can write well. No, prepare a good cover letter. Kind of remember about that it's a business letter. Remember what I've told you. Don't make it very long. Nice kind of short paragraphs. Definitely proofread for typos, for grammar, repetitions. Okay, so that's, as I already mentioned, you can find it on the Career Center website, the format. So please use just simple kind of common fonts. It's better to use the same font that you used in your resume. So start, the greeting. Don't use "to whom it may concern" or "dear sir" or "madam." That's kind of outdated. I would suggest, if there's no specific name, try to find it. Don't spend a lot of time, maybe 5 minutes. Just look at the website, at the staff, maybe LinkedIn. If you can't find a specific name, not of a recruiter, no, but of the decision maker, of the hiring manager, then if you can't find it, that's okay. Write something like "dear program manager" or "dear internship coordinator" or "dear hiring team." If the job description kind of emphasizes that the team work in this particular kind of organization, so you can assume that the probably hiring decision will be made by a team. So you will be safe to say "dear hiring team" or "dear hiring committee." Okay, so as I said, express your interest in the organization, state relevant skills, and that kind of will be good to do it in the very first paragraph. It shouldn't be long. The first paragraph shouldn't be long. It actually should be short. So you don't give examples in this first paragraph, but you use the right skills. So they look for people with researching and writing skills. Don't tell them that you have amazing oral communication skills. It's a wonderful skill to have, but if the job says you're preparing newsletters, that's the job, then you talk about excellent writing and analytical skills, for example, or research skills. So it's good to state how you've learned about the position, especially if you were referred by contact by an alum, or you're following up after job fair, or you found position on Handshake. So that kind of also will put you in the category of applicants that recruiters are aware of. They know that they are reaching out specifically. They have reached out to the specific kind of group of people, and you are one of them. It's not easy to create this first paragraph, because when you have to create something concise and succinct, is very difficult to do. So just kind of give you a suggestion here. As a could be senior American University's Public Health Scholars Program, or as a graduate, so soon to be graduate, I am focusing on XYZ, that will be topic relevant to the employer. After seeing your position posted on Handshake, I'm eager to apply that will be specific, the research or writing skills I have gained through my academic work. Sorry, I need to move my screen. Experiences to benefit your organization. I'm especially interested in interning with name of the organization because it is dedicated to, again, very specific. This is just one sample. There can be other examples of a hook sentence. Having strong communication and problem-solving skills, I'm eager to join the name of the organization team as your position title. Or as a skilled communicator, and again, assuming that this is the job, this is the specific skill that, the most important skill for this position. I'm eager to support, and then the name of the organization as your new name, as your new, and the name of the position. And then you can continue with, I'm impressed with XYZ, specific what you do, and would like to be part of these efforts, or I'm impressed with, okay, so something like that. Then after you're done with the first paragraph, short paragraph, then you can elaborate. You give specific examples answering the question why they should hire you. You tell them specifically what skills you've built, how you've built them. So you elaborate on what you have on your resume. You're not just kind of restating your resume, but you're adding more details. You tell them maybe more about the context, maybe what you've learned. So that's what I would suggest you will do in the second and maybe third paragraph, maybe even fourth paragraph. And then in the final paragraph, you will just very kind of concisely tell them, thank them. That's very important. You can tell them, kind of here that this is when you're available to start. You can include that you will be following up, the application. If the job description tells don't follow, then of course you don't include this because you want to respect employers' wishes. But the most important thing here, I think, in this final paragraph should be very short, and it's very important that you thank them. You can thank them for their time and consideration. And then you will finish sincerely and your name. Okay, so just more tips. Don't restate your resume, I already said that. I just wanted to to emphasize that. Mention relevant soft skills. That could be probably in the not in the very top, because the very top, the first two paragraphs you need to devote to very specific, job specific skills. Soft skills, and okay, maybe, well, these are another word for essential or transferable skills. So like a teamwork, Another, adaptability, trainability, that's particularly maybe important in our environment. So talk in the cover letter how you adapted, how you transitioned, give some specific examples, how you were able to successfully transition, what you've learned, you can talk a little bit about challenges, but how you coped with them, how you learned and became stronger through those experiences. And, double check for typos and grammatical errors. So you see, I have a lot of typos here. So you need to read the text out loud, and then you'll be able to catch these mistakes. So please use resume templates. I mentioned them before. Again, you can find them on Handshake, on the Career Center website, cover letter outline on the Career Center website, individual advising appointment. This is a wonderful benefit that you all have as students, as alums of AU. So you have Career Center, you have the COGAD office, you have SIS office. So you have advisors available. Career Center has peer advisors, and they have a drop-in advising schedule for quick feedback on resume and cover letters. You can find this information on the Career Center website. So please use these resources to help you stand out and in your application materials, and kind of utilize the best practices that I've covered. Again, I know that it's kind of easy said, but not done. So please use the resources available to you. And I would like to look at whether we have any questions now. So I don't see any questions. So we have a couple more minutes. So if you have questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. I don't see any. Okay, well, if you don't, you can have questions at this moment. I'll be more than happy if you can, if you want to directly email me with questions. My email is litman@american.edu. So Litman, my last name, Litman @american.edu. And thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening.